Planet Earth contains of some extraordinarily diverse environment, some of which are easily habitable and some not so much. In different areas of Earth, one might find sweltering deserts, dense tropical rainforests, or bone-chilling tundras. Each biome and habitats comes with its own selection of flora and fauna. It may include physical features such as canyons, volcanoes, rivers, caves. Human beings have built homes in many different environments, settling the area and organizing it into units such as cities, states, regions, and countries, each with its own points of interest. Shifting trends in human migration have resulted in a human geography that is profoundly different from that of centuries ago. Island of Southeast Asia, a vast region of Asia situated east of the Indian subcontinent and south of China. It consists of two dissimilar portions. The continental projections, commonly called the mainland Southeast Asia, then a string of archipelagos to the south and to the east of the mainland insular Southeast Asia, extending some 700 miles to 1,100 kilometers southward from the mainland into insular Southeast Asia is the Malay Peninsula. This peninsula structurally is a part of mainland, but it is also shares many ecological and cultural affinities with the surrounding island and thus function as a bridge between the two regions. Mainland Southeast Asia is divided into countries of Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Thailand, and the city-state of Singapore. At the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, in which occupy the eastern portion of the mainland, often are collectively called the Indo-Chinese Peninsula. Malaysia is both mainland and insular, with the portion on the Malay Peninsula and eastern pass of the Islam Borneo, except for the small Sultanate of the Brunei, also belongs to Borneo. The remainder of the insular Southeast Asia consists of the archipelagic nations of Indonesia and the Philippines. Southeast Asia stretches some 4,000 miles at its the greatest extent, roughly from the northwest to southeast, and encompasses some 5 million square miles and 13 million square kilometers of land and seas. All of Southeast falls within the tropical and subtropical climate of zones, and much of it receives considerable annual precipitation. It is the subject to an exclusive and irregular monsoonal weather system that produces marked wet and dry period in most of the region. Southeast Asia landscape is characterized by three intermediate physical elements: the mountain ranges, plains, and plateaus, and also water in the form of both shallow seas and extensive drainage system. Within this broad outline, island of Southeast Asia is perhaps of the most diverse region on the earth. The number of the large and small ecological niches is more than matched by a struggling variety of economic, social, and cultural niches. Southeast Asia developed for themselves. Of ethnic group and language have been identified. So, Southeast Asia should be treated as a miscellaneous collection of culture that simply do not quite fit anywhere else. Yet, from the ancient times, Southeast Asia has been considered by its neighbors to be a region in its own right and not merely an extension of their own lands. These Chinese called it Nanyang, and the Japanese call it Nanyo, both names meaning South Seas, and South Asian use such term as Suvarnabhumi as land of gold to describe the area. The psychography of the Southeast Asia has been formed to a large extent by the convergence of the three of the Earth's major crustal units, the Eurasians, Indian, Australian, and the Pacific Plate. The land has been subjected to be a considerable amount of faultings, folding, uplifting, and volcanic activity over the geologic over time. And much of the region is the mountainous. There are mixed structural differences between the mainland and the insular portions of the region.
So today we will know what is the facts about island Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia has been an increasingly popular destination for travelers, home to some of the most visited countries in the world, just like beautiful beaches, fascinating history, and mouth-watering food. Southeast Asia boasts some truly amazing facts. Southeast Asia is comprised of 11 countries squeezed between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. They are Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, East Timor, Brunei, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. Southeast Asia is a perfect vacation destination combining sun, sea, and culture. Known for its idyllic islands, the endless beaches, plenty of resorts, tasty cuisine, world-class restaurants, and diverse cultures. Southeast Asia is one of the best vacation destinations on the planet. It has everything you need to have a luxurious holiday on a budget. Whatever your interests are, can find something entertaining you from enjoying a sunset on a beach in Thailand and visiting the Buddhist monasteries in Laos to tasting street food in Malaysia. The climate in Southeast Asia is tropical all year round due to its location on the equator. Southeast Asia stays warm throughout the year with midday temperatures of 35 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit on most days. Most countries have two seasons, the wet and the dry season. Generally speaking, the wet season extends from June through October, and the dry season runs roughly from November through May. In dry months, famous tourist destinations are usually crowded with people. In the rainy season, you might encounter some inconvenience, but you'll see fewer tourists and gain better prices on accommodation. Southeast Asia includes over 20,000 islands scattered through the Pacific and Indian Ocean. Indonesia has over 13,500 islands on its own. Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, blessed with a deep history and unique culture. This region is home to some most impressive temples in the world. There are about 35,000 temples in Thailand alone. You should not miss the world's largest religious monument, the Angkor Wat in Cambodia and the Bagan in Myanmar. The ancient city is lined with gorgeous temples. You can explore over 2,000 temples from above with hot air balloons ride. Southeast Asia is extremely diverse in religion. Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam are generally Buddhist countries, while Indonesia and Brunei are mostly Muslim countries. The Philippines and East Timor are two predominantly Catholic countries. Southeast Asia is a perfect region for coffee lovers. Coffee has been grown and consumed in Southeast Asia since the late 17th century. You can taste a different type of coffee in each country in the region. Laos is said to be home to the best coffee in Southeast Asia. In fact, coffee is its biggest export, and don't forget to take some coffee back home with you. Meals in Thailand were all Buddhist monks for a while. There was a time when all young men in Thailand, including royalty, were required to become Buddhist monks, even if only for a short time before they turned 20. Vietnam is the country of motorbikes. When you visit Vietnam, you will find that the roads are filled with motorbikes. Motorbikes is the main form of transportation in Vietnam. These are more than 45 million registered motorbikes in the country, which means that almost half of the population owns their own motorbike. In Vietnam, motorbikes are everywhere. It is a great experience to take a motorbike ride in Vietnam. Southeast Asia is about packers adventure playground. With convenient intercountry transport, affordable prices, rich outdoor adventures, and diverse cultural and historic sites, Southeast Asia has long been a haven for backpackers.
Indonesian Sanskrit name history. 1 decade ago, while Indonesia is still a merry island with animals and dynamics, believe Hindus reached the archipelago and it was well received. In Indonesia, there are 4 big theories about the Hindus spread in Indonesia. First, Vaishya theory said that Hindus spread because of the merge of Hindustan merchants and Indonesian people. Second, Kshatriya theory that said war losing soldiers from India came to Indonesia to isolate themselves. Third, Brahmin theory which said that the missionaries spread to every island in Indonesia and through Hindus to indigenous people. And the last, Umayyad theory said that the regions was spread from Indonesia people that was traveled in Hindustan. All those theory led to one conclusion that Hindus has spread through Indonesians and influenced Indonesian people. There are many things that changed after Hindus spread Indonesian people being known of God prayer and so on. Because of that, Indonesian also built some temples and literary. Indonesian learned how to write and read the Holy Book of Sanskrit language. Some of Indonesian also named their children with Sanskrit name that they had learned before, as they know the meaning of it. It can be said that the Sanskrit language is the first modern language in Indonesia. Sanskrit language covers many aspects of religion, art, scientific, and everyday life. It has its own character and symbol in Java. Its language often mixed with traditional language at daily life. However, it didn't change the big influence of Sanskrit language. Here are the few examples of Sanskrit name in the meaning of Indonesian language. Based on God or heroes, Krishna, Vishnu, Rama, Sita. Based on things, Surya, Aditya, and Mitra, that means sun. Based on others, Vibhusuno, Vihaya, Raivu, and many others. Even though Hindus are no longer the majority religions of Indonesia, the Sanskrit language still remain and used until now, as it was came culture in the major religions of Indonesia, that Sanskrit language still remain and used until now, as it become culture in Indonesia. Not only to name a person, the Sanskrit language also used to name Indonesian government, institution, and mottos, just like Laksamana, that take from Laksman, a younger brother of Rama. Or in motto, there are Sanskrit motto in Indonesia military army called Adhita Karya Mahatvaviya Nagara Baki, which means study gallant to be applied for the glory of the nation. And state also check out about Sanskrit word in Indonesia. Indian literature written of the Indian subcontinent produced there in a variety of vernacular language, including Sanskrit, Prakrit, Pali, Bengali, Bihari, Gujarati, Hindi, Kannada, Kashmiri, Malayalam, Oriya, Punjabi, Rajasthani, Tamil, Telugu, Urdu, Kannada, Saraiki, and Sindhi, among others, as well as in English. The terms Indian literature is used here to refer to literature produced across the Indian subcontinent period of the creation of the Republic of India in 1947 of within the Republic of India after 1947.
Good morning everyone, I'm Jeremy Juan and I'll be discuss the facts about Malaysia, literature of Malaysia, their culture and tradition, Malaysian literature and their works. Malaysia is a Southeast Asian country occupying parts of Malay Peninsula and island of Borneo. It's known for its beaches, rainforests, and mix of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and European culture influences. Malaysia's official religion is Islam and 60% of the population is Muslim, but the country also has Hindu and Buddhism populations. Chinese Malaysians also follow Taoist Confucianist tradition and tribal people in Borneo and other remote areas following traditional animist beliefs. The people of Malaysia are mosaic of Chinese, Indian, and nature Malay influence. The Malays make up the largest ethnic group and tend to practice both Islamic and Malay traditions and speak in the native Malay language. Malaysian literature is a collection of literary works produced in Malay Peninsula until 1963 and in Malaysian thereafter. Malaysian literature is typically written in any country's four main languages, whether Malay, English, Chinese, and Tamil. It portrays various aspects of Malaysian life and comprises an important part of the culture of Malaysia. Some literary works of Malaysia are
is of the 5 Indonesia provinces that make up Kalimantan, the Islamic Sultanate of Borneo, and the northwest area of the island known as Malaysian Borneo, officially is Malaysia, which includes the continents of Sabah and Sarawak, together making 26% of the population of Borneo. Each part of Borneo is therefore administered by different countries. So next time someone tells you they are going to Borneo, you can show off your geographic skills by asking them to be more specific. East Malaysia is divided into 2 states. The northern tip of Borneo is called Sabah, capital Kota Kinabalu or KKK, and Sarawak, capital Kuching, covers the northwest area of the island. Fondly known as land below the wind, Sabah is blessed with amazing wonders of nature, which includes its island, beaches, coral reefs, rivers, wetlands, forests, and mountains. Besides rich in biodiversity, Sabah is also rich in traditions and cultures of its indigenous communities, for there are more than 30 groups of ethnic communities beside the Chinese, Malays, and Indians race. The richness of the traditions and cultures in Sabah is expressed in differences between the traditional dress, dance, music, and handicraft of the various ethnic communities. Ethnics, tradition, and culture are intimately connected to one another. None of them could exist without one another. Each one of the differences clearly reflects the identity of each racial group. Handicrafts, dance, music, and dresses are defined with their own meaning and beliefs according to its ethnic. For example, Zumazao dance is for appeasing rice spirit of the Kadan Duzun, and Mangunatip dance is to honor the Murut warrior for their victory of war. Nowadays, in this modernized world, most of the uniqueness of traditions and cultures from the olden days are disappearing, leaving only memories. Much of the olden days thinking, practices, and beliefs begin to change along with the dynamic movement of urban technologies and faster pace of life. People people are beginning to forget the positive values of each ethnics. Values caught up with the busy life and slowly forgetting their origins and ancestors. Fame and fortune are what today's people are looking for, maybe in the near future, without combined efforts of preserves of traditions and cultures of Sabah. The younger generation will no longer recognize their unique heritage as the most valuable and priceless than any fortune, hence lose their real identity and moderation in the midst of his modern, fast-changing world and lifestyles. Almost all the group of Sava nowadays have undergone modernization and mainly most of them are the local people of Sabah, realizing the importance of preserving the traditions and cultures of Sabah since 1986. The state government of Sabah has officially established Sabah Cultural Board in year 1996 to support the cultural development of Sabah, reminding the people of Sabah for generation of the heritage they have and help treasured them to tradition and cultures can become as part of this changing world remembered forever. Together, we need to humble ourselves toward understanding one another's tradition and cultures. For there is a lot of can be learned from one's traditions and cultures. Every bit of efforts we put forward can contribute toward peace and harmony for our nation and others too.
Salamat siyang! Hello, good day in English. I am Bayana Nicole Munar from AB English Language Studies, a second-year student. I will be discussing the literature of Borneo. But first, what is Borneo? And second, is Borneo is an island or a country? So, let's start. Borneo, in Indonesian, it is called Kalimantan. Borneo is the third largest island in the world and the largest in Asia. At the geographic center of maritime Southeast Asia, in relation to major Indonesian islands, it is located north of Java, west of Sulawesi, and east of Sumatra. The island is politically divided among three countries: Malaysia, Brunei in the north, and Indonesia to the south. It is only the island in the world to be politically administered by three countries at a time. Borneo is a home of one of the oldest rainforests in the world. Let me give you facts about Borneo. Borneo is an incredible island and is somewhere that many travelers dream of visiting. Don't believe me? Check out these 14 fascinating facts about Borneo to see why it is in so many bucket lists. First, Borneo isn't a country. It is in fact an island that is administered by three different countries: the Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Second, half of the world timber comes from Borneo. 40 years ago, 73.7% of the country was covered by rainforests. Tragically, today, only 50.5% is covered. Borneo is the world's third largest island, behind Greenland and Eugenia. Orangutans can only be found in the rainforests of Borneo and Sumatra. The rainforest in Borneo is one of the oldest in the world and is estimated to be about 130 million years. There are over 200 different ethnic groups in Borneo. The people that make up those ethnic groups are known as Dayaks. Borneo is twice the size of Germany. Borneo is home to the Southeast Asian high mountain. It is called Mount Kinabalu. During the most 10 years, 360 new species have been found in Borneo. Borneo is one of the biodiverse places on the planet, being home to an estimated 15,000 different plant species. Borneo is home to the Rafflesia arnold flower in the world. The last, the said flower is also known as the corpse flower as it is said to smell like rotting corpse. Borneo is thought to be home to around 222 mammals, 44 of which are only found in Borneo. Today, Borneo comprises mostly of Islamic, Malays, and non-Muslim Dayaks, along with the Chinese and the Europeans. A diverse variety of tribes distinguished from each other by dwellings and culture feature in inland Borneo. These tribes were often at conflict with each other before was made with the West. Borneo is a great example of a place where tolerance of religious and political views can create a peaceful and respectful society. The population is approximately split between Islam 60%, 19% in Buddhist, 9% of Christian, and 6% of Hindu. There are over 30 distinct and individually recognized indigenous groups in Sabah, each with their own dialect, hunting methods, cuisine, dress, dance, and music. The largest is the Kadasan Dusun, followed by the Bajau and Murut. Who's a Dayak? Not all of Borneo's indigenous tribes refer to themselves as Dayaks, but the term usually groups together people who have a great deal in common and not just from an outsider's point of view. Sabah. More than 30 indigenous groups make Sabah a medley of traditions and cultures. The state's largest ethnic groups, known as Kadasan Dusun, make up 17.8% of the population, mainly Roman Catholic. The Kadasan and the Dusun share a common language and have similar customs, though the former originally lived mainly in the state's western coastal areas and river deltas, while the later inhabited the interior highlands. The North Borneo dispute, also known as Sabah dispute, is a territorial dispute between Malay and the Philippines over much of the eastern part of the state of Sabah. Sabah was previously known as North Borneo prior to the formation of Malaysian Federation. Sarawak, the largest among the 13 states with an area almost equal to the peninsular Malaysia. Sarawak is located in northwest Borneo Island and is bordered by the Malaysian state of Sabah to the northeast, Kalimantan, the Indonesian portion of Borneo, to the south, and the Brunei in the north. Dayak culture and lifestyles are probably easiest to observe and is experienced in Sarawak, where Dayaks made up of 40% of the population. Kalimantan. In Indonesian Borneo, the term Dayak and Dayakism imply pan-Dayak political and ethnic solidarity. In Central Kalimantan, the largest indigenous group in the Ngaju Dayak who live along major rivers and do more fishing than hunting. The Longhouse, one of the most distinctive features of Dayak's life, is a longhouse which is essentially an entire village under one seemingly interminable roof. Longhouses take a variety of shapes and styles, but all are raised above the damp jungle floor on hardwood stilts, and most are built on the near river banks. For reasons of geography, traditional Dayak societies did not develop a government structure beyond that of the longhouse. And last, what language do they speak in Borneo? Bahasa Malaysia is the official language spoken in Sabah and Sarawak. Other widely spoken languages include Chinese, for example, Cantonese, Mandarin, Hokkien, Hakka, Hainan, Fuzhou, and Tamil and English. Thank you for listening.
Laguna and Kaya stories. So, Laguna and Kaya story is an Indonesian story that was written by Herbert Cohen, an American novelist, poetess, and anthropologist. So, the story of Luna and Kaya is about two boys that makes a decision and Celebes, the people know of two men named Guno and Koy, and whenever they hear of them, they smile. For the name Guno means helpful, and Guno is really a very unhelpful man. And while Koyo's name means rich, Koyo in fact never has any money at all. Whatever he manages to get his hands on, Guno the helpful one helps him lose. One time, Guno persuaded Koyo to go with him to rob an old haji. They crept in the night of the old man's house and began to dig a hole under the wall. When the hole was large enough for a man to enter, Guno crawled through. He silently gathered the valuables of the sleeping haji and handed them neatly on the ground. As Guno prepared to go out, he saw the haji's colorful robe hanging on a peg. He took the robe down and dressed himself in it. He said to himself, "I will soil my new robe if I crawl out the way I came in." So, instead of going through the hole, he went to the door, unlocked it, and stepped out. Koyo, expecting Guno to appear through the hole, was startled. Seeing the dignified robe figure coming out of the door, he thought it was the haji, and that Guno was still inside. "The haji!" Koyo screamed, and leaving the file of loot where he had placed it on the ground, he began to run. Guno, thinking the haji was behind him, hastily threw his new robe away and fled after Guno. Because the two of them made so much noise fleeing through the village, the neighbors were awake and they came out with sticks and sickles to pursue them. Guno and Koyo ran across the open fields until they came panting to the edge of the river. "We are lost," Koyo groaned. "Well, either we caught or beaten, or we will drown in the flooded river." "The river isn't flooded," Guno said helpfully. "Indeed, the river is flooded," Koyo said. "No, it's not flooded," Guno said. "If it were in flood, it would be muddy and dark, but it is so clear you can almost see the bottom." Koyo looked. It was true. Faintly in the starlight, he could see the rocks on the bottom of the river. "Well," he said nervously, "you go first and tell how it is." So Guno held his breath and leaped from the rocky ledge. But the river bed was dry. There was no water at all, and Guno fell into the ground and stones below. As he lay there in a great surprise, he heard Koyo shouting to him from the ledge, "How is it? How is it?" Guno was embarrassed, so he began to make swimming motion with his hands and legs as he lay on the bottom of the river bed, and he called out, "It's fine below. Don't you see me?" So, Koyo too took a deep breath and closed his eyes and leaped from the ledge. He landed next to Guno, sprawling on the ground. Guno, still waving his arms as though he were swimming, turned to Koyo and said, "You can see now that I was right. The river is not in flood." The people of the village arrived on the ledge. They looked down and shouted at the two men who came up and take their punishment. In terror, Koyo also began to make swimming motions. The villagers, seeing Guno and Koyo swimming this way in the river that had been dry for months, put down their weapons and laughed. They couldn't bring themselves to punish the silly fugitives. So today, whenever a person tries to get out of a predicament by ridiculous act, someone is sure to say, "Don't go swimming in a dry riverbed." That's the story of Guno and Koyo, guys. So, this story has a lesson of So, as a person, don't try to escape